The Great Depression and Hollywood's golden age of cinema do not necessarily sound like they went hand in hand. However, when the American people began to slowly lose hope for their country during its economic crisis, fleeing to movie theaters to escape their harsh reality seemed to be the only possible option. Through the invention of various types of cinema during the Great Depression, the American people were slowly able to regain hope for their seemingly crumbling country. Multiple filmmakers and film techniques from the 1930s to 1940s contributed to Hollywood's golden age of cinema. From Charlie Chaplin's humorous silent films to Alfred Hitchcock's terrifying horror films, every cinema addict had a genre of film to fall in love with.
Mr. Hitchcock, why do you always make mystery films?
Well, life is a big mystery, isn't it? It always has been. I think people are intrigued by mystery to find out about things they don't know anything about. That's a mystery.
Alfred Hitchcock rose to fame because of his ability to create horrific worlds on screen where many new film techniques were introduced. Whodunit mysteries, jump scares, and adding more and more complexity to each of his characters caused his films to be known as psychologically addictive, and when really analyzed, was able to mirror America's current situation in a very real way. Charlie Chaplin was seen as the king of comedy in this time period, with his outrageous facial expressions and wacky personality. Chaplin's presence on screen has often been described as relatable because he was able to bring to light the serious day-to-day issues the American people faced through comedy. Not much due credit was given to filmmakers in the time period of the 1930s. This was oddly enough because there was so much changing in the film industry with tons of new ideas being put forth that ideas were often stolen or miscredited. Now imagine how much credit would be given to a filmmaker in this time period that was a woman. Due to all the stigma surrounding women in a so-called man's line of work, female filmmakers in this time period, though there were very few, would never be acknowledged or appreciated for the work they created under these harsh societal norms. Dorothy Arzner was one of the only women directors who had a successful career in Hollywood from the late 1920s until the 1940s. She brought a distinctive style to Hollywood. Dorothy Arzner shared her life with Marion Morgan, a well-known choreographer who collaborated with Arthur on many of her films. Arthur was later known as a star maker as she worked with actresses from Clara Bow and Katharine Hepburn to Rosalind Russell and Lucille Ball. More often than not, her films told stories about love, rivalry, and passion among women. Oftentimes, the heroines of her films would end up in places that one would not necessarily expect for Hollywood films in this time period. There is a reason why films have such a great appeal. They take us out of the routine that is our lives and give us a new world to jump into. It is proven that people don't remember song lyrics, books, or artwork as much as a good movie. The fact that film watching is subjective is very true. It's possible that the films, editing styles, and filmmakers that have been mentioned were disliked by some of the American people during the Great Depression. Yet, it was a different time then. People took whatever they were given as they were desperate for new beginnings. Film watching in the early 1930s to 40s was a crucial part of people's lives as it transformed their vision of the future in a drastically positive way.